Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here with my monthly update video telling you everything I was up to in the months of June and July. Well, hello! We've got a super-sized update video this month. Last month, at the beginning of June, I got COVID, so I was not really feeling up to filming, and I didn't really have much of a voice for filming. I'm totally recovered now, everything's fine. But yeah, so I didn't get to it. So this month, I have a lot of pickups to talk about, a lot of games beaten, so this is probably going to be a bit of a longer episode. In the past 2 months, I made 2 guest appearances on a podcast. The first was I was on an episode of PD's Power Hour again, talking to Michelle. This time we talked about Chablis, which was very fun. There is both a video version of that, and you can just listen to the podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. I will include links to those. And the other thing is that I was on the Cartridge Club podcast, which is a podcast I haven't been on in a while, though I've been on a few times before, and we were talking about Sewer Shark, which is one that I don't think too many people talk about, but we had a very enthusiastic crowd of people to talk about it. I also did a review of it earlier this year, maybe last year, I don't remember. But that also has a video version of the podcast, or you can listen to the audio, and I will link to that as well. So this month I had a number of pickups. I had a few things on pre-order that finally came in, as well as some other things. In June, I took a stack of about 20 games, which I felt I no longer needed, either games that I had completed and didn't feel the need to hang on to, or things that I had tried out and wasn't really digging. So I took them over to Retro Game Bros and traded them in for some new things. So one of the first things that I had been looking for a while is Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. I had picked up Soul Reaver a few months ago, and I've been wanting to get into this series, so I figured I'd just go right for it and try to get a number of games in the series. And so I also got Blood Omen 2 for the PS2, which I've honestly heard less about than the other 2 on PS1, but it was there, and it wasn't very expensive, so I thought I'd try it out. Also, someone had been talking to me about Bionic Commando for the NES, and I thought it sounded pretty cool. It's a platformer where you can't jump, you can only grapple. So I've tried it a little bit, and it definitely does have a learning curve, not being able to jump, but I plan to spend some more time with it soon. I also got a bunch of Switch games, which is funny because I also traded in a bunch of Switch games. So something that had been on order for a while was Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. I reviewed the first 2 Pocky and Rocky games earlier this year, and I really liked them. This is like a sort of reimagining, remake, not even a remake, like, because there's a whole bunch of new things in this, but at the same time it is very, very similar looking to the original Pocky and Rocky. And I've only played a little bit of it so far. One thing that I'm not digging is that I wanted to play this co-op, but in order to open the co-op mode or to open the easy mode, you need to collect a certain number of coins in single player mode first, which I think is just a shitty barrier for no reason. So that kind of turned me off it, not being able to play co-op when I had someone here that I wanted to play with. But yeah, I've only gone through like the first couple levels of this, so I need to go back to it, get those coins so I can actually play with a friend. I also got the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I was thinking a while back, maybe I'll get the first 3 Castlevanias on NES, and then I thought, maybe I'll just get this on Switch, which includes those, Super Castlevania 4, Bloodlines, Kid Dracula. So I thought I'd pick that up for Switch. Haven't actually tried it yet. I also got the Lion Song on Switch, and this one was maybe a little misguided. I played this on PC. I wanted a physical edition. I told myself I would stop doing this, buying physical editions of games that I'm actually not going to play on Switch, but somehow I did it anyway. So this is the Lion Song, which is an absolutely beautiful point-and-click adventure game that I recommend to anyone, and the Flower Collectors, which is a cool sort of detective-y kind of game. But got those. And last, and this just got here today, Live Alive? Live Alive? I think it's Live Alive. But this just got a sort of remake It originally didn't come to North America, and it had to get a fan translation, but this is a whole new visual appearance and things for it, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about it, so I will play this at some time as well. I really need to play my Switch more, because I have all these games, and I just play my Xbox. This was also a good couple months for vinyl. There's a farmer's market near me on Sundays, and I went there a couple weeks ago and was surprised to see a vinyl vendor there. So while I was there, I picked up Led Zeppelin 2. You know how I love Led Zeppelin. This is a pretty vintage looking. And a couple new video game vinyls as well. The DuckTales Afternoon, which is a great soundtrack. I believe this has a soundtrack to both DuckTales 1 and 2. Yeah, DuckTales 1 and 2. And it's got this beautiful manual with it, and it's just a very good, high-quality soundtrack. I also really like the actual design of the disc with the sort of multicolored splatter. It's very cool. And lastly, my video game vinyl holy grail that I've been waiting and hoping for a few years. It's the Parasite Eve soundtrack, which is very exciting. This is a 3 vinyl set. The packaging is like just okay, but the actual pressing is really nice, and it's like such a great soundtrack. So yes, super excited. This was really expensive, like too expensive, but I'd been waiting for it and hearing rumors of it for so long that I could not say no when it finally popped up. So yeah, those are my pickups for June and July. Okay, so now let's go on to what I've been playing, and this is probably going to take a while since it's 2 months worth of games. The first thing I beat was Norco, which is a new point-and-click adventure. It takes place in New Orleans, and it's very much about a place. You sort of go back home after your mother has died and your brother is missing, and you're just going back home after a long time away and seeing how things have changed and how things have stayed the same. It's a little bit on the surreal side. It has extremely good writing and absolutely beautiful pixel art, especially really great use of colors. I definitely liked Norco. I played a little bit of it on stream and finished it off myself. I feel like it has been a little bit overshadowed by some other very text-based games recently, like Citizen Sleeper and things like that. But overall, Norco was a really nice experience, and if you like that sort of surreal, a little slow-moving kind of adventure game, it is a good one. Next up, I played The Quarry. I actually ended up playing a lot of The Quarry. I got a review code for it, and if you haven't seen that review, you can check it out. It's a few videos back. I really enjoyed it. I loved Until Dawn, which was sort of the predecessor to this. And I think this one was even better. I liked the cast of characters more. Everything was just a little bit more polished. Occasionally animations, especially to do with like character mouths, were a little weird, but it's hard to get that kind of stuff right. And I just really liked the cast. I had a fun time playing it on my own, and then I played through the entire thing on stream as well. And it was really fun playing through that with an audience of everyone sort of saying what they thought I should do. So if you haven't played The Quarry and you like that kind of game like Until Dawn or like the Dark Pictures anthology, things like that, The Quarry's great. Also check out my review. One of the games that people were super excited about was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. And beat-em-ups are not my most favorite of genre, but this did have up to 6-player online co-op, so I played through the whole thing with 4 other friends, and it was a lot of fun. Again, really nice pixel art, a banging soundtrack. The moves and things are all pretty cool. I felt the least button mashy that I usually do in those type of fighting games. Usually I just sort of smash the controller. This, I was actually like planning moves and throws and things. I still have the problem where I always do, where I don't know which character on screen I am, especially since 4 of them just look like turtles. But it was a lot of fun to play co-op. I think it was only maybe like 2.5 hours long. The pacing was really good. The length of each stage was just about perfect. So yeah, I feel like most people have probably played this if they were interested in it. But yeah, Shredder's Revenge, very good. Another one I finished on stream is Beneath a Steel Sky. This is a point-and-click adventure game from 1995, possibly? I actually forget the year. But you play a character who has been out living in the wilderness since he was a little kid, and he's taken to this big sort of industrial-type city where some bad shit is going on. And the story doesn't really get kickstarted for a while in terms of what you're doing, but it's your typical point-and-click adventure. You're getting inventory, you're talking to people. The tone is a little strange, like it's sort of a serious story, but a lot of the dialogue is kind of on the silly side. I thought it was okay. I thought the puzzles were pretty decent, like nothing was too moon logic-y. There were some highlights. The worst thing about it was the music. I thought it had a really bad soundtrack. And also, where I was playing it on DOSBox or ScumVM? No, DOSBox, I think. Every time the music would change, it would just overwrite all of my audio settings, and it would just get so loud. So it was both loud and bad, which kind of put a damper on things. But it was a fun enough one to stream, but I wouldn't put it up there with my favorite adventure games. I also played A Way Out. I had some friends here a while ago, like a month ago, and we played A Way Out couch co-op. There was actually 3 of us, but we just switch controllers every once in a while. And in this game, you are playing 2 men who meet in jail and hatch a plan to escape. And so you're going through their escape and their, days on the run trying to avoid being recaptured. And I thought it was super well done. It's a sort of split screen thing, but the split screen isn't just like a static split screen. Sometimes one character gets a bigger side of it than the other because the other doesn't have much to do. Sometimes it sort of changes things, so only one person is acting and being seen on screen at a time. There's also all kinds of things, like there's little stealthy bits, there's mini games, there's driving, there's shootouts, so it's always changing things up. And overall, I liked the story as well. My friends and I were sort of guessing about where it was going to go and how everything was going to go down, and the ending can change, I think, depending on your actions. But yeah, if you have a friend, and I think you do need someone else, you can't play this by yourself, whether couch co-op or online, A Way Out was a lot of fun. I also finally finished Lunar, a Silver Star story complete. I actually started playing this back in January, and it took me this long to finish it, and then I made a review, which you can also see on the channel. I thought it was extremely mediocre. It had some good things. The anime cutscenes in it were the one thing that really stood out, whereas the combat system was very tedious and boring, and the characters were just okay, I thought. Some people thought my review was unfair because the game originally came out in 1992 for the Sega CD, but the 1999 version on PlayStation 1 that I reviewed is a remake. It's not just a port. Like, the game is twice as long, the battles are different, the story's different. It's not a 1992 game, it's a 1999, or maybe a 1996 game since it's actually ported from the Saturn. But I think comparing it to other games of that PlayStation era was completely fair. Others may disagree, but yeah, I thought Lunar was just okay. There was some charming bits, but overall, you're spending 75% of your time in combat, and combat wasn't any fun. A little short and sweet sort of interactive fiction I played was Can Androids Pray, where you are an android, well, not an android, you're a character in a mech suit with a friend or a co-soldier in a mech suit, and you're both sort of out of commission, and waiting for your suits to blow up and die while you're on this planet. And it's just basically the conversation you have as you're waiting for the end to come. And it was nice. Again, it was like maybe a 20-minute experience, but the writing was very good. The music was very good. If you can get it, for a couple bucks and you want just like a quick interactive story that's very well told and, a little thought-provoking, that was pretty cool. Also, on my multiplayer nights, we finished Zombie Army Trilogy, and this is your basic zombie shooter. It's a spin-off of the Sniper Elite series. We had played Zombie Army 4 previously, and that was basically better in every way, so Zombie Army Trilogy was definitely a step back from that. It's fun, like you get some close-ups of when someone gets a headshot or someone like hits a zombie in their organ, which is cool. Although it also automatically creates a clip of it on Xbox, which no one wanted. But it's, you just go along, you shoot some zombies, you shoot some Nazi zombies, and it was, fun enough as a multiplayer game. I wish there had been a little bit more in terms of like secrets and spooky things happening like there were in Zombie Army 4. But yeah, if you're running out of zombie shooters to play with friends, it's a decent one. Also, I finally finished Dark Souls 2. In the last year, 6 months, I played through Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, Elden Ring, and Dark Souls 2. And I think Dark Souls 2 is the one that took me the longest amount of time. It is, of the ones I've played, my least favorite. There were some cool things about it. And, I liked the combat. I really liked the world. I think the world, in terms of, like, story and atmosphere, I liked the world a lot. In terms of map and interconnectedness and secrets and shortcuts, it wasn't really up to either Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. One of my biggest problems was that there are just so many bosses, and I remember very few of them. None of them were that interesting. I ended up playing through just summoning NPCs anytime I could. I didn't really want to spend that much time with the game, even though I did end up spending a lot of time with the game, but I felt it took me a long time to like get through the actual levels, and then by the time I got to the boss, I was like, is there someone here to summon? Come on, let's go, let's do this together. So I actually like doing the fights with NPC companions. It's I kind of avoided it on the earlier games, but I enjoyed doing that. But it was just strange how it was difficult to run by enemies, and they would like follow you for such a long time. Some I had to fight so many times that they just stopped respawning. But I thought Dark Souls 2 was, it's decent like they all are, but definitely my least favorite of the trilogy. Another one that just came on Xbox recently is called Road 96, and this is a somewhat procedurally generated kind of narrative adventure game. I'm finding a hard genre category to put it in, but it takes place in this country that's under a sort of totalitarian regime as they're going up to an election, and a bunch of teenagers are just trying to flee the country and get to the border and leave, and you play a number of those teenagers. I started as one. I started in a certain scene, I made some decisions, I had some conversations, and then I got picked up by the police. And then you start as a new teenager, and you see different scenes, and there's a number of characters you come across sort of multiple times along the way, and you reveal their stories as you yourself are trying to make your way to the border, or as close to it as possible. And I found that it was pretty good for the first 3 or so times around. It was really interesting. I liked meeting the new characters and walking around and making some decisions about if you're going to steal money, or if you're going to take a bus, or if you're going to try to hitchhike. And that was cool. As it went on, I think I had to play through 7 or 8 characters by the end, and that did start to wear after a while, but it was an interesting concept of sort of procedurally generating exactly what scenarios you're going to find yourself in as you play. So I would give it a like a lukewarm recommendation. It was decent, but did wear after a while. Another similar sort of narrative adventure game that I played through with friends is As Dusk Falls. This is a very recent release, came out on Xbox. Last week, me and like 4 or 5 friends decided we were going to play it since it apparently had online multiplayer. The online multiplayer did not work. We could not invite anyone, we couldn't join anyone's group, so I ended up just streaming it to them in Discord while everyone just like yelled decisions at me and told me how I should respond to situations. So you start off playing this family and they're having this long road trip. They pull off onto a motel and bad things happen. Some boys who had robbed someone come in, they take hostages, and things sort of spiral from there. And it's done in a really strange visual style. Like, it almost looks rotoscoped, like it's like still sort of hand-drawn looking images that just sort of like move slightly, like they're moving at like 2 frames per second. And that took a little getting used to. The performances in terms of voice acting, a little all over the place, generally fairly strong, but there were some weaker performances. I think the first half of the game was a bit stronger than the last half, but you're just going through playing a bunch of different characters and making decisions that will impact how the story will turn out in the end. I did find the end of it was a little like out of left field, and then it sort of ended. But it was fun to play. I think if I had been playing through solo, I wouldn't have liked it as much. But since I had 5 friends on voice chat with me and we were all just like making fun of it and deciding exactly how to progress on things and making jokes the whole time, it made it a lot more fun than it would have been single player. So your mileage may vary. And the last thing I finished just yesterday was the new Cuphead DLC. That's been advertised for such a long time. It finally came out in July, and I went through it all. I think there was 5 new bosses, maybe 6 new bosses. And this, again, I played a little bit of it couch co-op. Cuphead is so much more difficult couch co-op. Like, just things have more health. Just having another player sprite on the screen makes it so much more difficult for me. But I played with my friend Michelle, and we got through one boss while she was here, and then I sort of put it down for a while and went back to it on a different save file and went through all 5 bosses on my own. And they were, I would say, a mid-tier difficulty. Like, definitely nothing like the... I'm trying to think of the bosses that I had such a hard time with. Dr. Cal's robot or the Grim Matchstick. Like, nothing like that where I was banging my head against them for hours. But, you know, some difficult things, some cool patterns to learn. But overall, I got through the DLC in pretty good time. One, I even got an A+ rank on my very first kill, which I don't know if I've ever done before. But yeah, if you like Cuphead, this is more Cuphead. I definitely recommend it. The bosses are worth playing. Alright, so I'm going to end it there. There were a few things that I kind of retired, but I'm thinking this video is long enough as it is. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you played anything great over these last couple months, or if you have any cool pickups you want to tell me about. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.